Ideally, we should be designing the lifestyle that we really want. How much you want to be earning, how many hours a week you want to be working, what opportunities and freedoms you want your business to provide. And once you can design the lifestyle you want, then you can design what's the business that'll be the means to actually create that. So whenever I set a goal, I like to set goals that are so big that I cannot achieve them. They're so big that they're outside of my current ability. So the only way I can achieve them is if I force myself to improve. I would say for me, real estate, it is something that it lights the fire inside of me. It gets me really excited, but it was also the means to get me to the lifestyle that I really wanted.
We were in negotiations.
Investing in real estate, they're winning, they're making money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Estate Educators Podcast, where we provide the education you can build on. I'm your host, Kevin Amos. Once again, we're doing it again. We're back. This has been so much fun. We're helping real estate investors and real estate educators provide value. So if you're out there building a portfolio, fixing and flipping, or if you're wanting to educate other real estate investors or maybe follow a different passion, which is what we're going to be talking about today, this is the podcast for you. I know you're going to get a ton of value, so please help me out. 5-star review and share it with a friend. So Jason VanDevere, you've been in the business for a little while, but it's a little bit different than what other guests on the show have done. So you're an entrepreneur, you're an author, you're a podcast host, and you're a real estate investor. I know you focused on apartments, I think 34-ish apartment units, and you've used that to help you follow other passions. And I think your passion is actually other people's passion. So I'm really excited to get into that. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
All right, why don't we start by telling us a little bit about you, and then I want to get into the real estate, and then I definitely want to get into following the passion and goal setting and that sort of thing, because you are the expert in that. So take us back. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So I grew up working for my family. My dad is a car dealer in Akron, Ohio. So if you ever come here, you'll see my last name, VanDevere, all over. They've got VanDevere, Chevy, Kia, Cadillac. They've got 5 dealerships. So it was always assumed growing up my life that I would take over the family business. I'd be a car dealer. So I was learning every department in the business to one day take it over. And somewhere in that process, I realized that it didn't align with a passion of mine. And actually, real estate helped me realize that, which maybe we can talk about later. So I decided to leave there and start what was my dream business. I wanted to launch a planner. I designed this planner called Go Crazy, and everyone told me it was a crazy idea to turn down the opportunity to be a car dealer, to go start selling paper planners online. But I decided to do it. I launched this planner business. The planner business turned into more things. It turned into workshops and courses, coaching program, most recently a book. I've got a podcast. And then, like you mentioned, somewhere along the way, I've been buying real estate. So I'm up to 34 apartments. Hopefully can keep buying more. But I would say there's my highlight reel.
Yeah,
there's
that's
plenty of projects that went nowhere, and I'm figuring it out as I go. But those are a few of the things.
Yeah, so my wife's father is in the car business. He runs a car lot. Nothing like you. It's more of a used car, kind of like buy here, pay her sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then her brother also did that, and they've done really well, but they've also told me that it's not the cleanest business. Is that the way to say it? Like they didn't really have a passion and they didn't really enjoy it that much. So is that sort of what you found with going through your,
Well, so I would say my dad loves the car business, and when I was working there, like if you showed up at one of the VanDevere dealerships, you would know if my dad is there because you'll hear him. He's loud, he's excited. You'll see immediately this business is an extension of him. He does a great job. He's built a very reputable, respectable brand, which is hard for car dealers to do in our area. And in a way, seeing him and just seeing the fire this business lit for him, it was obvious that's what I wanted. I wanted a business that filled me with that energy like he did. But it was clear I wasn't going to find it in the car business. So I think it's absolutely possible, but it didn't have the spark for me.
And that's interesting you say that, because that sounds like is what led you into what you're doing now, which is helping people find their goals and design. I don't know if I should say this, but is it design a life or a lifestyle around that passion? And that's what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Helping people set goals. I work mostly with entrepreneurs, but I would say like your business should be the means, not the end. Your business should be the means, not the end. And what I mean by that is lots of times let me start with this. ideally we should be designing the lifestyle that we really want. How much you want to be earning, how many hours a week you want to be working, what opportunities and freedoms you want your business to provide. And once you can design the lifestyle you want, then you can design what's the business that'll be the means to actually create that. And I think lots of entrepreneurs, when they're setting goals, all they do is they think about their business goals, which, hey, look, that's important. I want you to hit your business goals. But if those are the end, then often entrepreneurs succeed and their work completely overtakes their life. And they're
Yeah.
working 60 hours a week on a business that they started to have freedom. So I would say for me, real estate, it is something that it lights the fire inside of me. It gets me really excited, but it was also the means to get me to the lifestyle that I really wanted.
Okay. And then, so we're going to get into that, but let's talk about the real estate since you just brought that up. So
Yeah.
talk to me about the transition from cars to real estate. How did that happen for you?
So I bought my first property. It was a 4-unit building while still working at the car dealership. I did the whole house hacking thing, and that also helped reveal to me that I didn't love the car business. Once I got that rental property, if I met somebody else with rental properties, I could talk to them for hours about it. I'm sure you're a similar way.
Oh
Hey, how
yeah.
are you finding your deals? How are you structuring it? What are you doing with your tenants? But if I met somebody else who worked in the car business, it's like I knew how to talk about it, but it didn't light the same fire inside of me. So that really helped me realize, okay, this is possible for me to have something that I just enjoy and love and is fun. And I knew real estate would provide that for me, but you also need something to fuel the fire with real estate. And if I was going to quit my job, I needed to find income somewhere else.
Yeah. So you started with the house hacking on a fourplex, and I know
Yeah.
you have other small multis and then I think one larger
Mhm.
multifamily. So I think people are struggling right now, Jason, with going from that first property because house hacking is a fairly simple way to get into the business. But how do you
Mhm.
go from that first one into the next one?
Yeah. My biggest recommendation is you just got to keep touring properties. Something I learned from the car business is I would have customers every day show up and say, I'm not buying today. I'm not buying today. I'm just looking. And 2 hours later, they somehow, some way find the money to buy the perfect car that they found. And I would say like the same thing happened for me. I had left my job, started my planner business. I was not in a good financial position to buy other properties, but I started touring some. I found a deal on a duplex that just seemed perfect. All the stars aligned. And once I found the deal, it was like, all right, I'm going to find a way to make this happen. So I don't know if everybody else is going to have that same situation, but if you're not looking at deals because you're waiting, then nothing's going to happen. But when you find the perfect deal, all of a sudden it's easier to find the money.
Yes, I agree with that. I was actually, you mentioned a couple of things there. The
Hmm.
passion that you have, I have the same one, man. I was at a little happy hour with a small group of people yesterday, and everyone's like really interested in real estate. And
Hmm.
I swear we could have sat there all night talking about different ways
Yeah.
to structure deals. What are you doing? What are we seeing? And it's just a lot of fun.
Hmm.
But now your passion is other people's passion. So tell me a little bit about that planner. Is that like a Franklin Covey? Like when I got into business,
Kind
we
of
were
like
buying
that.
Franklin Covey. So what is it? Tell
Yeah,
me, tell
it's
me about
kind of
it.
like that. So it's 90-day planner. It's undated. So if somebody buys it, they can start using it whenever. But it starts with this intro. I call it a life crash course, which helps somebody get clear on where they're at in their life right now, where they want to go, and start creating the plan to get them there. And then it has the daily planner pages that help you break it down into plans and hold yourself accountable to take action every single day. And super random passion, but it was something that excited me. I'm a planner person. So even though everybody told me like, hey, planners are a dying industry, paper products are a dying industry, I just wanted to do it. And it just filled me up with energy. And now years later, now planners are the hot thing to launch. Lots of authors are launching planners. So I was kind of lucky I got in it earlier in the beginning, before lots of other people were. But now when I'm working with entrepreneurs, I feel like the biggest thing that's helped me in my business is finding the business idea that will light that fire inside of you, rather than just scouring the market for the perfect widget or service to provide to earn money. It's like, what if you scour your heart? What's the thing that's going to light a fire inside of you to make it happen?
And so the Goal Crazy is going to provide that.
Yeah, so Go Crazy will help them figure that out. And then I did write a book called Dream Driven that'll specifically break that down into a cleaner process for entrepreneurs, helping them figure out what their ideal business idea is, how to validate its winner, and how to launch it. But as far as figuring out goals and dreams that'll light a fire inside of you, the planner is a great place to start.
And so for you, it wasn't real estate. I mean, it was real estate because you said that,
Yeah.
but that was more of a means to, it's like for me, real estate is my end. I love what I'm doing. For you, you're using the cash flow from the real estate to fund a different passion. Do I
Yeah.
understand that
So
right?
I would say they would go both ways. I really enjoy them both, which probably wouldn't recommend having two passion businesses to entrepreneurs. Like biggest distraction for me growing my real estate bigger has been my planner business,
Yeah.
vice versa. Biggest distraction from growing the planner business is my real estate. But it's been really helpful to have these two businesses because one can feed the other. So I wrote this book when I signed on with the publisher. I stopped all of my ads for my goal crazy online business. I had coaching clients. I dropped all of them because I wanted to focus 100% on writing a book. Now, I wouldn't have the luxury to do that if I didn't have my rental properties. I have a wife, she's with our kids all the time. She doesn't bring in any income, but because I still have rental properties, we can live with me taking a year and a half off to write a book. And yeah, I feel like they both just provided really unique opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have both businesses. But I think that goes back to what's the dream lifestyle you really want. I really enjoy looking at deals, making the processes for them, but I've never viewed that as something that I wanted to be doing full time. It's a really fun investment opportunity. It's kind of, I view it as a hobby. All my friends have rental properties. We talk about them. But what I want to be doing on a day-to-day basis is working with entrepreneurs to accomplish their goals.
Okay. I love what I'm hearing. I tell people a lot, and a lot of the listeners here are trying to do real estate like sort of full time kind of thing. They want to
Yeah.
really get into the fixing and flipping or whatever it is and generate like high amounts of income, which is great. But I'll tell people you don't have to do that to become extremely wealthy. I mean, just one property would change your life, right? What if you do
Yeah.
that one a year or one every other year? Something very small and simple, just as an
Mhm.
investment. It doesn't need to be a business. So I guess it's just a what is it, like a paradigm shift or whatever, how you're approaching it. But sure, do what you love, pull some income out of it and invest it.
Yeah. And yeah, real estate, it's hard. I feel like every starting a business is hard. There's the challenges. So if I didn't have the desire behind it, I probably would have stopped
Right.
after my first one. But I enjoy it. So it's like, well, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, that's great. So let's figure out what we're going to learn out of this book here. So I
Yeah.
wrote down on my notes here how to come up with a business idea. That seems very complicated. Like I think about some of the crazy ideas that people have had a lot of success with, right? And become super wealthy just because of an idea. So walk me through the process. How do we come up with an idea that is our passion when we are starting with a blank canvas?
Yeah. So I'm going to say there's two different routes, and I kind of touched on this concept a little bit. But there's two routes somebody can take when they're finding their perfect business idea. There's what I call the easy money route, where somebody looks for what's the business that'll earn me the most amount of money the easiest. And they search to find this product, service, widget, whatever. The problem with following that route is that starting a business is hard. In my experience, all the businesses I've started have been hard. I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs on my podcast. All of them have said it's hard. Okay. Now, if the challenge that's in front of you is larger than the desire you have to make it succeed, you're just going to quit when it gets hard and you're going to go look for the next easy money business. The dream driven approach to entrepreneurship is you look at your heart to figure out, what do I really want to do with my life? What do I really want to do with my life? And you find a business that'll align with that. And that's going to give you the amount of desire you need to overcome all the challenges. If your desire is greater than the challenge, you're going to push through it. Now, where somebody should start is they need to start dreaming. I take time, 10 minutes every single day to simply dream. I'll go down in my basement, I'll put my headphones on, listen to some music that excites me, and I just dream about what I'd like to do in my life without limits. And it helps me clarify the type of lifestyle I want. It gives me motivation to make it happen. And this is going to be a long answer here, but I want to define
Good.
a little bit how I view dreams compared to goals. Everyone's pretty familiar with the concept of goals, right? Goals, they're something realistic, they're time bound, they're something you actually want to do with your life. Dreams are a little different though. Dreams, they don't have to be realistic. They're things you may or may not actually do. You're simply asking yourself, what would I love to do with my life? What would I love to experience? And you let your heart speak to you without limits. Which, if you're not in the habit of doing this, it might feel a little uncomfortable. It might be hard for you to really think about what I love to do without trying to figure out how to do it or if it's realistic. You just let your heart speak to you. And the beautiful thing is when you have dreams, then you can set goals that aim at those dreams. Okay. It gives your goals meaning if they're aiming at a dream, and it fills your life with purpose. Now, if you don't have dreams, you can still set goals in your life, right? You can set a goal to do whatever you want. You could set a goal to write a pop-up book about penguins. But if it's not aiming at a dream, then there's no purpose behind it. I would say it's a complete waste of time. So if you don't have dreams, your goals aren't aiming at anything. They're going to lack meaning. And if you don't have meaningful goals in your life, you're going to end up in what I call survival mode, where you're just working to stay afloat. So I would say for somebody to find that business idea, the very first step is you're going to have to start dreaming every single day to start to clarify this is the type of life, this is the lifestyle that I want. And once we can get clear on the lifestyle, it's a lot easier to figure out the business that'll be the means to do it.
So I've been in real estate for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a business coach, and you do some coaching also. So you could probably relate to this. Right now, what we're working on is exactly what you're saying, like creating that white space and creating time and space for you to think about these things. So sounds like for you, you go down into your basement and throw some headphones on. For me, I like to go hiking. If I can go on a 3 or 4 hour hike, that's where I get it from. But he says dedicated time for this. And the longer you could do it, the longer the block, the more results you're going to get. So maybe fewer times in a month, but the longer the block. So he's saying do 3 to 4 hours a month, but try to get it all in 1 or maybe 2 times. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I've been doing it daily. I've gone through phases of my life where it's been more, but 10 minutes, it normally just gets me all fueled up and ready for the day.
Almost like a meditation for you.
It is. And sometimes I'll get really into it. I'll start the timer again and again. And eventually it's like, all right, I do have to go get some work done. But it gives me clarity on this is what I want to do. And it gives me the motivation. Now my activities aren't just work throughout the day. I can directly see what I'm doing every day is connected to my dreams. And that fuels me with energy to push through the challenges.
Yeah, that's so interesting. This episode is brought to you by Pine Financial Group. Pine Financial is a private lender specializing in short-term rehab lending to real estate investors. Got a property that needs some love? We can help. We are able to offer funding solutions because we raise private money from individual investors. With more than 15 years of experience, Pine offers passive investors an alternative that provides stability, consistency, and security to your portfolio. If you like real estate but want to avoid the ups and downs and effort, a Pine mortgage fund could be a perfect fit for you. Accredited investors will experience an 8% preferred return and profit sharing. Diversify your portfolio out of Wall Street and into Main Street with a Pine Financial Group mortgage fund. Get more information at pinefinancialgroup.com. That's pinefinancialgroup.com. You know, it's crazy when you think about like some of the ideas when you have that space, like tell me if you have the similar experiences, but I get the best business ideas when I'm in the shower. Like, so I'm not thinking about anything, right? I'm just like, sitting there. So if you can create that experience, I know it sounds weird, but if you can create that experience at a dedicated, like you're doing, I could see it being hugely beneficial. Come up with ideas, whether you have started your business or not. You're constantly have to think about ideas to be successful in business, right?
Yeah, and I think going to the shower thing, most people, that's like the only blank space they have in their calendar. They're either listening to podcasts, they're on the phone, they're scrolling their TikTok, they're getting work done, and that's like the only blank space where they're not somehow filling their head with other data points. So I think that's a big part of why that happens.
Yeah, I think so too. That is so interesting. All right, so if we're going to come up with a business idea, you said there's really 2 routes, and I wrote the first one down, easy money route,
easy money route.
And you went into the second one, but I didn't write down what you called it.
Yeah, sorry, dream driven. So that's the name of my book.
Okay,
dream driven approach is your business idea should be attached to a dream of yours. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. So if I had a blank canvas and I was just going to start, I would start by just focusing on dreaming. And then I would start setting my goals around what my dreams are.
Yeah. So I'm going to walk you through this a little bit more. So first,
you're going to give me some more detail there. That'd be great.
So I would dream, I would encourage people to start making a list of these dreams that come up. Now, the beautiful thing is when you start dreaming every day, some business ideas might come up, and after 2 or 3 days, it's not even fun to dream about anymore. Versus you're going to have these other dreams that it seems like you could dream about for hours, for months. Like they just fill you with energy to keep dreaming about the same things. And those what are the ones that really uncover your actual desires. Now, once you have this list of business ideas, I look for three things. Well, I would want to validate it's a winning business idea, but first I want to validate it's the right business idea for you. And if that passes, then I'll validate in the marketplace that it's the right business idea. So to validate that it's the right business idea for you, I look for three L's. The first one is you have to have a great longing behind this idea. You need enough desire to overcome the challenges that are going to arise. And how I quantify this is I call it the first alarm test. When your first alarm goes off, is this business idea exciting enough for you to get out of your bed and go work on it? If it's not, you're going to need to go find something that you like more because you're going to have challenges that arise that are much harder than getting out of your bed on the first alarm. Second thing I look for is I want the business idea to be lifting. And what I mean by that is I want this business by starting it that it would lift you to the next level. So whenever I set a goal, I like to set goals that are so big that I cannot achieve them. They're so big that they're outside of my current ability. So the only way I can achieve them is if I force myself to improve. I don't know if you follow Tony Robbins, but one of the things he talks about is it's not about the goal, it's about growing to become the person who can achieve the goal. This goal, this business idea, it should force a better version of you to break free and live. If you already know how to start it right now, that's not even a goal. That's a to-do list item. Just get it done, right? This should be something that's going to force you to improve. So I want it to be lifting. And the third thing, I want it to feel light. And this is a little more internal, but almost all the time when I ask an entrepreneur, hey, does this idea feel light or does it feel heavy? They can give me an answer to that. So, for example, when I was working at our family's dealership, I was on like the straightest path towards success. Like in a matter of years, I could have been very financially well-off car dealer, but it felt so heavy. However, launching a planner business with close to no money, tons of stress, over 2 years of not really turning a profit, it felt light because it was connected to a dream of mine. I loved it. It was challenging, but it felt fun. So I would want the entrepreneur, does it feel light? Does it feel fun? And if it has all three of those things, then I'll move on to the next phase of validating it in the marketplace.
The longing and the light sound very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
So can you describe like what's the difference between longing and light?
Yeah. So longing, you're going to have a lot of desire. I think for me, it's would I enjoy the process? Sometimes I might have a longing just for the outcome, like, oh, this could make me tons of money and I would love that. But if the idea of starting that venture doesn't feel light, I'm not going to do it. Light for me is more connected to fun versus longing is I really want the outcome that it's gonna provide.
I love that description. So it's more fun, less about the outcome, but more about the process itself.
Yeah.
Is the process fun? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just climbed Mount Rainier and I could tell you the process to do that was way more fun than getting to the summit. The summit was cold. It was windy. It was snowing. It actually wasn't really all that enjoyable, to be quite honest with you. But the training with my friends and the actual hike up, that process was a lot of fun and something I'll never forget.
Yeah. Congratulations. And I think that's probably a perfect example. Like probably when you set that goal for yourself, I want to climb that mountain, you knew it was going to be hard, right? You had to train and it was going to be hard, but that probably felt light to you. Is that correct? Like it was like this, they got a longing, it was lifting, it was going to force you to improve somehow, but the process of it felt fun and light.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it wasn't light, literally. Like I was carrying 40-pound backpacks up hills with a headlamp, right? In the middle of the night, like trying to get ready for this thing. So, but it was definitely fun and the outcome was great. So
yeah, that's good.
All right. So I wrote down, what did I write? Is the challenge harder, if I could read my own handwriting, than the desire? So if the challenge is harder than the desire, you're not going to be successful. But if the desire is harder or better than the challenge, then you will be successful. So I think that's a good distinction there. Mm-hmm. We talk about the why. You probably read the book. It starts with why. So why are you trying to be successful? If you can get really clear on that, then you can't fail. I really honestly believe that. I don't care what business it is. If you have a why that is so powerful, you cannot fail. And I think Tony Robbins actually talks about this too. The pleasure and pain and how to make decisions, right? So I'm curious for you, getting started, you've started multiple businesses now, and our listeners are maybe somewhat new to business or trying to improve. So what's a piece of advice to a struggling entrepreneur, like when they're in their first, say, year or so and it's not going so well?
Yeah. So I had phenomenal mentor gave me a piece of advice that I would say was instrumental in my businesses. He told me, Jason, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So if you want to start a business or you want to accomplish a goal, the quickest way to do it is find someone who's already accomplished it and ask them how they did it. Boom, there's your straight line. So wherever you're at right now, I would make it your number one goal. If you're struggling or you're not at the level you want to be, you need to find someone who is, and you need to learn from them. I break down 8 different ways to do this in my book. I'm going to maybe rapid fire through a couple. You can cut me off whenever.
No,
One,
go
if you
for it.
know people, your warm friends and family, reach out to them. If they've got a successful business, if they've got a successful real estate portfolio that you want to model, reach out to them. I'm normally looking for people that have a similar business to me, success or a similar business to what I want, but they're not going to view me as competition, right? If they're going to view me as competition, they're not going to give me the secret sauce. The thing I love about real estate is there's enough to go around. Even my friends in the area, I don't feel like there's competition between us with our deals and how we're structuring things. So beautiful market for that. So friends and family, maybe you know somebody, maybe you know somebody who knows somebody. After that, I have cold called businesses to try and track down the owner. I'll give you a real estate specific version of this. There was a small mobile home park available for sale near us a couple years ago that I was really interested in. I know nothing about mobile home parks. So I started calling all the other mobile home parks in the area and just asking them, hey, I want to speak to the owner. I'm looking at buying this one down the street. I want to see if you give me some advice. Most people told me politely or not so politely, no. But I found 2 or 3 of them that were extremely helpful. They slowed down. They told me, hey, here's what I'd be looking for. Or the one guy's like, hey, I know the people who service their wastewater treatment plant. Here's his cell number. They started giving me this information just because I cold called them. And I think another way to really do this is look for businesses for sale. If you're looking for real estate specific or not specific, if there's a business for sale, oftentimes that gives you the opportunity to sit down with the owner and ask them line by line through their profit and loss how everything is working. So going back to my e-commerce business a few years ago, I wanted to grow my email list. And I wanted to decide, do I want to put in the effort to grow my own email list or should I go buy one that already exists? Well, by me researching these big email lists that already exist, it gave me the opportunity to sit down with the owner and go line by line through their P&L and ask them questions. Now, I'll be upfront about your intentions right from the get-go. Hey, I'm deciding if I want to buy this or build it on my own, so you're not completely wasting these people's times. But it can give you the opportunity to learn from people way smarter than you. I'll give one more is look for networking groups, ideally in person where you can meet with people, real estate. There's lots of meetups, otherwise online ones. Normally, if it's online on a forum or Facebook group, I'll start with an easy question that I'm curious about that I know an expert could answer in a minute. If somebody comments on it with the answer, I'll DM them and say, hey, thanks so much. Would you be willing to hop on a 10, 15-minute call with me so you can help me not be clueless and then start the connection. So there's a few.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think people, especially in real estate, as you suggested, are pretty giving with their time, and they don't view it as competition, nor do I. I think there's more cooperation than competition in the
Mhm.
real estate business. I don't know
Yeah.
how it is in the paper planning guide
Yeah.
business, but
It was harder to find those people, but I'm sure you've experienced this with your podcasts. Since I have a podcast, now whenever I want to start something new, like when I wanted to write a book, I reached out to tons of authors and got them on my podcast and asked them how they did it. And my audience can learn, I can learn. So it gave me a unique angle to take to get in touch with these people I wanted to learn from.
yeah, that's interesting. I've actually shared that on this show, that one of the biggest benefits of hosting a podcast is the guests. Because now
Mhm.
for you, for example, I know you're busy and you jumped on here with me and gave me 30 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever it's going to end up
Mhm.
being, and of your undivided attention, right? So I was able
Mhm.
to hang out with you for 30 minutes. So that's a good way to meet people by
Mhm.
hosting your own podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long have you been doing that?
About a little over 3 years
Okay.
been doing it.
And you're
Mhm.
enjoying it.
Oh yeah. I enjoy it. At first I started it really as like a hobby. I didn't really care what would happen. I had an audience of people using my planner, so it was a way to share more content with them. But then it turns into something. Now you have this audience of people. It gives you the opportunity to talk to others. It's been really fun.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk about what the services that you have behind the book and the planner. So you said you're doing some coaching, and I think I heard something else in there. So maybe some live events or some educational events or something. But tell me what's the menu of what you provide to your clients?
Yeah. So I don't know when this episode will come out. When I started my book, I stopped all of my coaching. So hopefully by the time this episode releases, it'll be back. But I have courses available to help people set their goals, manage their time, hosting workshops, live workshops with my audience of people. And then I was doing one-on-one coaching with people. And now that coaching, once it gets launched again, will be specifically for people who are wanting to start their first business, helping them through the process of my book, find the right business idea, validate in the marketplace, and then launch it this year, even if you don't have much money. So those are the things I offer with my business. Then I have the podcast, which is completely free, where you can learn from inspiring entrepreneurs that have accomplished a lot.
And the podcast is the same name as the planner, Goal Crazy.
Correct.
The book is Dream Driven. Yeah, I see that behind you, and you've held it up a couple of times. Where do we get a hold of the book?
If you go to Amazon and search Dream Driven, it should pop up right away. Bright blue cover with a yellow light bulb on it.
All right. And it sounds like we're going to learn a lot from that, especially if we're newer to entrepreneurship. That's really the target, it sounds like.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to go through my notes here. Tell me if I'm missing anything. You said you've listened to another episode, so you know that I like to just review my notes. I learned a lot. I got a lot of value from this, Jason, so I really do appreciate this. So tell me if I'm missing anything. And then from there, if you could give us one final piece of advice for a real estate investor, or maybe a new entrepreneur in this case. Mm-hmm. So we talked about how you went from the car business into real estate. You did the house hacking thing, which so many people do. I'm telling you guys, for the listener, it's a really great way to get into real estate. And from there, you could grow. And you've done really well, Jason. You've created a portfolio that creates cash flow for you, where you could basically you said a year and a half off, and you could follow another passion, which is the planner and the book. So congratulations to you on that. It's really cool to hear that. So the business should be a means, not an end. You mentioned you want to design your lifestyle first, and then we went into a lot of detail about this. Like, find your space where you could think, and then just dream. Let it run wild. It's actually quite fun, and then you could start building around that. You need to keep looking for deals if you're going to find deals. So going backwards here, we talked about finding real estate and finding your next deal. You said you just got to keep looking, and it'll come. And you gave the reference to the guy that was shopping for the car. When you're starting a business, you need to start with clarity. And there's really two paths: the easy money route, which you discouraged, and then the dream driven route. And that's where we started talking about dreaming first and setting your goals around that. So set your goals around your dreams, and then you got to validate your business. And there's two ways to do this. First, you want to validate it for you, and then you want to validate it in the market. Is it going to be successful? So starting with you have the 3 L's: longing, lifting, and light, which is really cool. So is it really going to be a passion? Does it get you up on that first alarm? Is it improving you? And is it fun? And then finally, I wrote down, if you're going to be successful, you really need to, or you don't need to, but you want to find the shortest distance between A and B, points A and B. Just find someone else that's done it and ask them. And you gave us some really cool advice at just cold calling them. I did the same thing when I was trying to create a mastermind group of real estate investors. I just started cold calling the best investors I knew in my town. And I got to tell you, I heard a lot of no's, a heck of a lot more no's than yeses. But we got a good 5-6 people that were much better, much more advanced, smarter than I was, to meet with me once a month, and we all helped each other. So I've done something very similar to that. So I encourage it. Now, we talked a little bit about Tony Robbins and the choices you make. Is the pain or the pleasure? Which one are you following? To be successful, you do need to follow the pleasure. Sometimes it is pain, so you cannot avoid that. The way you said it is the challenge harder than the desire? If it is, then you're not in the right business. You need that desire to be better, bigger, stronger, more powerful than that challenge. So how did I do?
I think you did great. I think you nailed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the final piece of advice, Jason?
I would say final piece of advice is you have to be prepared that this is going to be hard. If you're going to start a business, invest in real estate, one of the affirmations that I tell myself all the time is, this is what growth feels like. When I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed, stretched, stuck, this is what growth feels like. I think we all dream of going out and doing something great with our life, living this epic life. But then we complain when we're given challenges. And the reality is, if you want to live an epic life, you got to do stuff that's hard. You don't create an epic life by doing what's easy. You do it by doing what's hard. These challenges that have arisen in the process of me buying rental properties or starting my business, looking back, they were not the enemy of me becoming successful. Those were the requirement for me to be able to have a successful business. So you're ready and remind
That's
yourself this is what growth
cool.
feels like.
So that I could see you actually posting that like next to your desk, or, if you're at work, posting that, like, this is what it feels like. And that will remind you, right? I think that's fantastic advice. Good one for your final piece of advice. I appreciate that. So Jason, I know you're super busy. I mentioned that already on the call. You've got a couple businesses going, apartments, tenants. I know how that is. So
Yeah.
you chose to hang out with me for 40 minutes here. I really appreciate your time. So thank you. I know you added a ton of value to the listener.
Hey, thanks for having me. This has been really fun for me, and hopefully people could learn something.
Awesome. And for the listener, you have other podcasts you could be choosing, and you chose the Real Estate Educators Podcast. And for that, I am so grateful. I hope you got as much value of this episode as I did. If so, please help us out. 5-star review. We want to help more real estate investors just like you. So 5-star review, and I hope you make this day a great one. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to follow and leave us a review. Oh yeah, and tell a friend.